Greetings all! This is Justin. This is Nick.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, awesome, dude. So we are very close to the release of X-Wing 2nd Edition, so we need to have a look at some more lists.
Yes.
So yes, same as always, if you want your list to be looked at by us, just chuck it down in the comment section. Please, just as a block of text, try to avoid putting links in, because when you have links, YouTube filters it out and I have to go and manually approve it. Just the text is ideal. Anyway, we're going to do one list from each of the three factions, starting out with the Rebel faction.
This list is from Noah Wilson. It has the Azatuk gunship, an A-Wing and an E-Wing.
On the Azatuk gunship, we have Wolf Warrow with Intimidation, Zeb Aurelius, an Informant, and a shield upgrade.
With the A-Wing, we have Arvel Crinid with Intimidation.
And on the air wing, we have Corran Horn with Marksmanship, Advanced Sensors, R4 Astromech, and Hull Upgrade. So, we've got a couple of boys that want to bump in close and give Corran Horn a double tap with less agility.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
It is kind of cool. I don't know how often you're going to pull that off, but it's nice nonetheless.
Yeah.
And I think the cool thing about that is, even if you don't get Corran Horn enabling better attacks, the other guys still get to attack at range 1. And there's inbuilt bonuses based on that.
Yeah.
Intimidation, fighting at range 0. Wolf Warrow should be shooting better than his opponent, even though Zeb Aurelius lets the other guy shoot back at him. The fact of the matter is you have upside for Wolf Warrow getting shot, and intimidation and just a big stonking attack. Yeah. Seems really solid.
Just on Wolf Warrior though, I reckon we should probably change shield upgrade to hull upgrade.
Yeah, I agree, because Wolf Warrow wants to be damaged, if I'm not too mistaken. Yeah, if you're damaged. So if you have shield upgrade, it means that you have to get through one more point just to enable his ability. Where hull upgrade will basically give you the same upside. I mean, sure, you have more risk of getting a crit with hull upgrade over shield upgrade, but it means that any point of damage will enable his ability.
Yeah.
Pure and simple, and then he gets to do his shenanigans. I do like the inclusion of Informant here. Just a nice basic upgrade which allows you to sort of guess where your opponent's going to be.
Yep.
There's not a whole heap of upside. Basically, if your opponent has an Initiative 6 pilot, Corran Horn can anticipate where they're going to move and try and get out of the way so they don't arc dodge him or get him in arc.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, it's not always easy to do that against like a Sunterfell who has boost and barrel roll themselves. They can always counterfly you, but there is a little bit of upside in certain scenarios. Also, Arvel Crinid has a relatively low initiative at Initiative 3, so it means he can sort of set up blocks with his boost and barrel roll. Enough upside to warrant putting the Informant in this list, that's for sure. Actually, just moving on to Corran Horn, we were talking about this before. Yeah, I agree with you. We were talking about how we change hull upgrade to afterburners, and I think that makes perfect sense. If we save a point from the exchange of shield upgrade to hull upgrade on Wolf Warrow for the hull upgrade up 1 point to afterburners, I think that makes a lot of sense. Corran Horn's ability wants the perfect positioning. So you want to make sure that you get those boosts consistently. Afterburners gives you enough upside in that you can do a boost and another action and you don't stress your ship out. You can also boost barrel roll in that order, which he otherwise wouldn't be able to do. You can double reposition. And look, when you have a ship that is all about the bullseye firing arc, you want to have everything working in your favor to make sure you line up those shots absolutely perfectly. Advanced Sensors is an interesting choice. The wording on Advanced Sensors, pretty much the consensus we have in the community is you can't link actions of Advanced Sensors because it does specify one single action. Also, it means you can't do actions afterwards, which is kind of a nombo with Afterburners, I do admit. I'm still pretty happy with that combination. I just think there is a few things fighting with each other here.
I suppose it just gives you different choices. Like you can either use the advanced sensors or you could use the afterburners.
That's right. And I think having choices, especially on an ace platform like Corran, is a good choice. Yeah. We could also think about fire control systems. I mean, it's an E-Wing. It's going to get target locks. It has a significant amount of upside. Plus, it says why perform an attack. It doesn't say runs per round, so you can use it on both those attacks. I think fire control systems has a lot of upside on the E-Wing. Now, it's not as powerful situationally than advanced sensors, but it's also 5 points less.
Yeah.
So I think there's absolutely a case to look at that. And then we can look at all kinds of other things. You could think about R3 Astromech and getting 2 locks, which is also really good with the E-Wing.
Oh, yeah.
However, I will say R4 Astromech is fantastic with the E-Wing because it makes those 1 hard reds into white. Gives you 2 hard blues. There's a lot of upside with R4 Astromech on this platform. 2 points is a steal. Absolutely a steal. I mean, with the points we've saved there, we could just leave it. There's not too much of an initiative bid going on here. But Corran Horn is going to like a 5-point bid. We could think about chucking a missile on Arvel Crinid, but not a whole heap of upside to be garnered from that. Ion missiles has a decent amount of upside when you want to have a bit of control with your bumping, but it's also 4 points and it really cuts into that bid. I'd just leave it like this. This is the way I'd approach this list. It's still doing everything you want it to do. It's still bumping, enabling Corran Horn as much as possible, and just having a really fun sort of interactive style build. Let's move on to the Empire. We have a couple of Alpha Class Star Wings alongside Captain Oiken.
The new squadron pilots have proton torpedoes and the OS-1 Arsenal loadout.
Captain Oiken has proton torpedoes, TAC Officer, Grand Moff Tarkin, and Hotshot Gunner. So, a lot of really cool Alpha Strike potential. I've already spoken about torpedoes on the channel. I feel like proton torpedoes is like the purest form of the broken ordnance we had in first edition. It's just a really good, powerful attack. 4 red dice. We get a dice mod, you keep your target lock, all that kind of fun stuff. Difference now is it cost 9 points, so it's a slight increase. Well, it's half-point increase on what it used to be anyway. So having that across 3 ships and making sure you enable that as best as possible with Grand Moff Tarkin seems really, really solid. Even if you're not doing that, you've got Tactical Officer, you've got White Coordinates. Yeah, everything just seems to be running on all cylinders here, and that's good. Not a whole heap I'd change. My first edition brain goes, oh, hang on, there's no talent on Oiken. You can't do that, but I feel like moving in second edition, you can just not have talent, and that's not such a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, we could take out Tactical Officer and put on something else, but I think Tactical Officer has enough upside in this list.
Maybe take off Hotshot Gunner and put on Dauntless?
Yeah, I'd agree with that, actually. Hotshot Gunner has a nice bit of upside. I think it's just going to be a great card, full stop. And look, end of the day, maybe it'll be proven that Hotshot Gunner is just so important that you must take it. However, Dauntless is really good with this build because Captain Oiken is going to fight at range 0. You want to absolutely make sure you get those target locks. So I think there's enough upside to say we definitely want to be taking Dauntless. Even if you're not taking target locks, reinforcing at range 0 also relatively important when you're up and close and personal. Even if your opponent's ship can't shoot you, the ones behind it can. That's going to feel pretty good. It means you can coordinate even when you bump, which could be super important. Again, maybe that slam action is just going to be perfectly positioned for your Alpha Class Star Wings. It really depends on the board state, but you've got the options. And I like options.
Yeah.
And I agree, that's really the only thing I'd change here. OS-1 Arsenal loadout at 0 points feels really good. The fact of the matter is, Tarkin is going to make sure that those guys get off their proton torpedoes. They've also got reloads, so they can potentially get off more than 2. Look, I think there are going to be plenty of games where they can only fire 2, and that's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Because you're just going to go, okay, I'll just fire 2 and my guy blows up. But that's still enough value out of those proton torpedoes.
Yeah.
They're going to do a lot of damage. I also like, just as a little bit of upside, the natural state of the game flow with this is Captain Oiken's want to bump into your opponent and the Alpha Class Star Wings stay behind.
Yeah.
That gives you a certain amount of control, and that further enables those proton torpedoes. Just a lot of decent upside, and I love the simplicity of this.
Yeah.
I like that there seems to be a bit more of a focus on platforms rather than upgrades in the second edition. At least with some lists. There's still like the big, 2 big ship scum builds that have all the upgrades in the world.
Yeah.
But specifically looking at the Empire, I look at lists like this and go, yeah, it's just simple. You haven't overcomplicated things, and that's just fantastic. So thank you, Vedek, for submitting this list. The next list is by Scum1359AP. I think that's how you meant to pronounce that. Our Scum list for the week. We have Dreier with a few Crimora goons.
Yeah. Now, Dreier has Ion Cannon Turret, Veteran Turret Gunner, and R4 Astromech.
In fact, they all do.
Yeah.
4 Y-Wings, all with the same loadout. I was actually reading a comment just recently, people talking about Ion Cannon Turret and the issues with it. The problem is if you don't get enough red dice, you can't effectively ionize your opponent. And I think in this list, this is fine because you get those multiple shots with the Veteran Turret Gunner. Also, remember, at range 1, it does get a dice bonus. You don't negate the dice modifications like you do with missile and torpedoes. So, you're going to fight with 4 red dice at range 1, and you've got a good chance of ionizing just about any ship that you hit with that. Especially considering you get 4 shots with it across the whole list. Also, Mr. SCOM, however you pronounce his name, you did mention in the comment that you would consider switching out one of the goons for Torque or Mux with Moldy Crow, which works out at the same points cost. Interesting idea. I think there's absolutely a good case for that. It's going to be a great answer to aces, especially with all that ion control. Just bear in mind you are winding back on the power level of Dreier Renthal if you choose to do that. She wants as many non-unique friendlies as possible because they all get 2 shots and they could all potentially get the reroll on every single one of their shots. Now, I will say that there's a bit of contention at this point if the turret arc is over the primary arc. Do you get both of those shots off Veteran Turret Gunner? I think you probably do, but there is a little bit of contention amongst the community at this point. Let's say, for argument's sake, that you definitely don't. I still think there's enough upside in this list to have them. So, if it turns out that you do, it's just gravy at that point.
Indeed.
Yeah, a lot of shooting. This reminds me of BTLA 4 Y-Wing builds from first edition where you have ion cannons and you're double tapping, you're having all this crowd control stuff.
Yeah.
But you don't have to shoot in the forward arc anymore. You can shoot sideways with the turret and forward with your regular shot. Yeah, it feels pretty good. Also, R4 Astromech, absolute star. It's not unhinged Astromech. You're not making those 3 red turns blue or green they used to be. But you're still giving yourself blue hard turns. It just seems like a really good solid list. It's a lot for your opponent to shoot through. 8 hit points in every ship is not a small amount. Yeah, just solid. As an Imperial player flying with aces, you'd hate flying against something like this.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I understand that it's a good list, but no, don't let me play against it.
Yeah, for sure. Look, crowd control is always a thing. I like that this scales well against large ships as well. You could walk a large ship off the board with this much ion control. You have a decent answer for aces. Look, aces can arc dodge, and that's going to be their best tool against this. Remember, turrets don't just fire 360 anymore. So I don't think it's terrible, but the fact of the matter is they can all zone this annoying kill box around your aces that is very difficult to deal with, especially when they have to barrel roll and boost out of all these arcs.
Yeah.
I like the way it answers a significant amount of what's going on. I don't think it's going to be super fun against swarms. I think, frankly, you're going to ionize 1 or 2 swarm ships, and then the rest of them are just going to punish you. And ionization, again, isn't so bad when it's only one of your ships doing it. It's going to move 1 forward, but oh well, it's a swarm ship. It doesn't cost many points anyway, so... Yeah. So maybe not so good against swarms, but against big ships, against aces, yeah. A nice idea, and I'm very curious to see how crowd control works moving forward in 2nd edition. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for that. Again, lists in the comment section below. In the meantime, like and subscribe. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Reddit, and I'll catch you guys later on.
Bye.